So hello everyone, we are from Group 7 and we will present about teaching writing. So before we start, let me introduce our group member. So there's Nora Usmanagata as first presenter and Shintalira Arafah as the second presenter, and the last one is Tika Rofiana as the third presenter. So before we dive deep, we need to know that writing is actually one of the most important skills when we learn a new language. Why? Because through writing, students can express their ideas, share useful information, talk about their opinions, and train their critical thinking skills. That is why the ways teachers teach writing always change and develop over time. So the first material will be presented by me, Nora Usmanagata. It's about research on second language writing. Basically, this research looks at how students learn to write in a language that is not their first language or not their mother tongue. This study is super important because it helps teachers understand how writing skills actually grow in students' mind, so teachers can give better support in the classroom. One important thing to remember is that writing is not just about grammar. Many people think writing is just making sentences with zero grammar mistakes, but according to experts, good writing is about meaning, clear organizations, and how we share ideas properly depending on the situations. But we have to admit, writing in a second language is a big challenge. It is hard because students have to think about too many things at the same time. They have to worry about choosing the right vocabulary, fixing their grammar, arranging the text layout, using correct punctuations, and making sure the whole message actually makes sense to the reader. Because of these difficulties, researchers want to find the best way to help students become better and more confident writers. So then let's move on to the next slide. It's about product versus process approach. In the history of language teaching, there's famous discussions by an expert named Jeremy Harmer about the difference between the product approach and the process approach. Let's talk about the old way first, which is called the product approach. In the past, teachers only cared about the final text or the final result. When the students collect their essays, teachers would heavily focus on correcting every single grammar and spelling mistakes. The focus was strictly on accuracy and correctness. The bad thing about this method is that it often makes students feel very anxious, stressed, and afraid to write because they are scared of making mistakes. Because of that, we now have a better method called the process approach. This modern focus views writing as a gradual journey, not just a quick final result. In this view, making mistakes is completely natural and a normal part of learning. To help students, the process approach guides them through three main steps. First is planning. This is where students sit down to gather ideas, brainstorm topics, and organize their information before they write even a single sentence. Second is drafting. This is the fun part, where students write down their thoughts freely on paper. They don't need to worry too much about errors yet. The goal is just to get the ideas out. The third is revising and editing. This is the final step where students look back at their draft to improve clarity, rearrange messy sentences, and fix any language mistakes step by step until it becomes a great piece of writing. The next is cooperative writing and teacher feedback. So this means writing can get much better when students receive support, guidance, and interaction from their friends. When students work together in pairs or groups, they can discuss ideas, share layouts, and check each other's draft. For example, a student can ask their friend, like, "Hey, is my explanation clear enough?" This kind of interaction makes students realize their strengths and weaknesses, and it really boosts their confidence to become better writers. This collaboration also changed the true role of teacher feedback. Teachers should stop acting like strict judges who only look for grammar mistakes to penalize. So it explains that good feedback should focus on helping students improve to text actual meaning and layout. Teachers should read the students' ideas, respond to what they are trying to say, and guide them to reorganize their paragraphs so the text becomes easy to understand. This way, students learn from their mistakes through constant reflections. So the next is writing for learning versus writing for writing. The first step is writing for learning. Basically, this is when we use writing simply as a tool to practice language rules. The main goal here is not to create a beautiful story or master essay, but just to help students memorize vocabulary, practice grammar, and understand sentence patterns. For example, when a teacher asks students to fill in the blanks, write short practice sentences, or make a quick summary after a lesson, that is writing for learning. It is great for building language accuracy. The second type is writing for writing. It's very different because it treats writing as a real communication skill. Here the focus shifts to successful communication and text coherence. Students are expected to produce real, meaningful text for specific purpose and specific audience. Examples of this are when students build full essays, create imaginative stories, write formal reports, or make detailed description to share their true ideas with other people. So the next is genre and context in written language. The word genre basically means different categories or types of writing that have their own special purposes, structures, and language features. Understanding genre shows us a big lesson. Different situations always require different ways of writing. You cannot write everything in the exact same style. For example, let's look at the academic writing style. This style is commonly used in schools or universities for writing essays or reports. Because it is academic, students must present their information clearly, logically, and very formally using strictly organized paragraphs and evidence. But if we look at personal creative writing, the rules change. Personal writing, like writing in diaries or letters, use informal language to express deep feelings and personal experience freely. Meanwhile, creative writing, like writing short stories, gives students total freedom to use their pure imagination and descriptive words to entertain the reader. So why does all of this matter to us? It matters because when students understand different types of writing, they can choose the right vocabulary and structure based on who is going to read it. This knowledge makes them flexible and highly effective communicators in real-world situations. So in our midst, the next material will be presented by Shintalira Arafah.
Okay, now I'm explain the characteristic of written language, a writer's view. In writing, writers have to be more careful because their writing will be read by other people and usually less longer. First, permanence. When a piece of writing has been submitted or published, their writers cannot directly change it. Because of that, many students feel afraid or nervous when submitting their assessment. They worry that our grammar mistake, wrong word choices, and writing is not good enough. That is why the revision process is very important in writing. Second, production time. When writing, someone usually has to think about idea, make sentence, choose the vocabulary, and check grammar. The formal writing has to longer the process usually takes. But the problem at the school or university often asks to write in limited time, such as during exam. Because of that, students need to learn how to manage their time well in writing. Next, distance. In writing, writers and readers do not meet directly, different from speaking. So writers must make sure from the beginning that writing already clear. Because either has a different level of understanding, writers must be able to choose suitable words and explanation so readers can easily understand the content of the writing. Fourth, orthography. Orthography is related to the writing system such as spelling, punctuation, letters, and symbols in writing. In English, spelling is often considered difficult because pronunciation and writing are sometimes different. Next, complexity. Written language is usually more complex than spoken language. In daily speaking, People often use short and simple sentences, but writing needs a clear and more organized structure. For example, in academic writing, writers must be able to make writing organized and formal so readers can easily follow the discussion. Next is vocabulary. Writing needs wider vocabulary than speaking. Writers usually do not repeat the same words continuously, but use different vocabulary so the writing becomes more interesting. The last is formality. Writing usually uses language that is more formal, clear, and structured. Writers must be able to explain using polite and academic language. Because of that, students need to learn how to adjust their language style based on the purpose and types of writing. Okay, next I will explain about micro and macro skills of writing. First, we will start with micro skill. The first one is produce graphemes and orthographic patterns of English. Students must be able to write letters, spelling, and punctuation correctly. If the spelling or punctuation incorrect, readers may misunderstand the meaning of the text. The second one is produce writing at an efficient rate of speed to suit the purpose. Writers should write at speed that match the purpose of the writing. In examinations, students need to quickly because the time is limited. However, formal writing such as essay or academic writing usually requires more time. Next, produce an acceptable core of word and use appropriate word order patterns. This means writers should use appropriate vocabulary and arrange words in the correct order. Fourth, use acceptable grammatical system, patterns, and rules. Writers must use grammar correctly such as tense, agreement, and plural forms. If the grammar is incorrect, readers may become confused about the meaning of the text. The last is express a particular meaning in different grammatical forms. By using different sentence forms, the writing becomes more interesting and less monotonous. Next, we move the macro skills. First point in macro skill is use cohesive device in written discourse. Writers should be able to connect sentence and paragraphs so the writing feels connected and organized. Usually, this is done by using linking words or conjunction. Next, use the theoretical forms and convention of written discourse. Writers need to understand the structure of different types of writing. Each type of writing has its own format. For example, like essay consists of introduction, body, and conclusion, while a formal letter has a different structure. Third is appropriately accomplish the communicative function of written text according to form and purpose. This means the writing should match its communicative purpose. If the purpose to provide information, the content should be clear and informative. Next, convey links and connection between event and communicate such as relation as a main idea, supporting idea, and exemplification. This means writers should show the relationship between the main idea and supporting idea. As a result, readers can understand text more easily. Next, distinguish between literal and implied meaning when writing. Writers should be able to express both direct and implied meaning in their writing. Then, correctly convey cultural specific references in the context of the written text. Writers should use cultural references appropriately according to the text. If cultural references are used incorrectly, readers may misunderstand the meaning. Okay, the last point in macro skills is develop and use a battery of writing strategy. Writers should have various writing strategies to help improve the quality of their writing. Now, I will explain about material is types of classroom writing performance. This material discusses the types of writing activity usually done by students in the classroom. Even though there are many types of writing, but in the classroom, learning writing is usually divided into 5 main categories. First strategy is imitative and mechanical writing. At this stage, students focus on how to write letters, spelling, and punctuation. There are several activities in this stage. First, recognition technique, which are exercises to recognition letters and words. Second, copying. Even though it looks simple, but copying helps students practice how to write letters and words. Third, sound spelling. Sound spelling practice, students learn to different how relationship between sound and letters. The last activity at this stage is dictation. The teachers read a text, then students write what they heard. Second strategy is intensive and controlled writing. This step focuses on practicing grammar and sentence structure. The teacher still control must student writing activity, so student creativity is not fully used yet. For example, student can change present tense into past tense. Okay, there are also guided writing, where students write based on the teacher question, so students do not write freely. Besides that, there are dictacom. The teacher reads a paragraph several times, then students try to write a paragraph based on their memory. Next strategy is self-writing. The main audience of this writing is writers themselves. For example, like note-taking, which means writers important information while learning. Another example like daily or journal writing, which means writing personal experience or feelings. Strategies is display writing. These types of writing is used to show student academic ability, usually in assessment or tests. Maybe example like essay test, short answer exercise, and research reports. So, the purpose is to show student ability to teacher or school. The last strategy student writing in classroom is real writing. This type of writing is used for real communication. The first is academic writing. For example, writing in peer editing or sharing research results. The second, vocational and technical writing, which is writing for the workplace such as writing job letter or filling out forms. The last is personal writing, which is informal such as diary, notes, or personal message.
Now, I'm going to talk about the principles for teaching writing skills in English teaching. So basically, this topic is about how writing is taught in the classroom, not just focusing on the final essay or final text, but more on how students actually go through the process of writing and develop their skills step by step. First, the principle is incorporate practices of good writers. So, in this first principle, what it basically means is students are expected to learn from how good writers actually work. Good writing doesn't happen randomly, right? Usually, writers understand what they are going to write about, and they focus on one main idea, and they also think about who is going to read their writing. After that, they usually plan their ideas first before writing, and then they organize everything so it becomes clear. And one important thing is they are also willing to revise their writing based on feedback. So the idea here is students don't just write once, but they learn two habits of writing like real writers do. Second is balance process and product. Now, in the second principle, writing is seen from two sides. First is the process, and second is the product. What I mean by the process is the steps like planning, writing, drafts, and revising. So students don't directly write a perfect essay in one go. They go through stages, but at the same time, the product is still important. So even though we focus on the process, final writing still has to be clear, organized, and make sense. So both process and final result results are equally important here. Third is cultural and literary backgrounds. For the third principles, this one is about students' background. Every student come from different cultures and different ways of writing. So teachers cannot assume that students already understand how English writing works. That's why students need to be guided step by step so they can slowly adjust from their own writing style into English writing style, especially in how ideas are organized and expressed. Fourth is connect reading and writing. Next is reading and writing are actually connected. When students read a lot, they can see how texts are built, how ideas are connected, and how writers explain something. So reading isn't just for understanding meaning, but also for learning how to write better. It also helps students get ideas that they can use in their own writing. Fifth is provide authentic writing. Then for authentic writing, this basically means writing text should feel real, not just writing for exercise, but writing that has a purpose and a reader. For example, writing letters, resumes, or advertisement, or even scripts. When students know that their writing is for real communication, they usually become more motivated and more careful with their works. And six is design writing stages. In this principle, writing isn't done all at once. It is divided into stages. First, students start with the pre-writing, where they think and generate ideas. Then they move to drafting, where they start writing their ideas into sentences. After that, they revise and edit their writing based on feedback until the final version is clear and complete. So, writing is really seen as a process that develops step by step. 7 is make writing interactive. Next, writing isn't always individual work. Students can actually learn better when they interact with others. So in this case, they can work in pairs or groups, brainstorm together, give feedback to each other, and discuss ideas. This helps them improve their writing because they are not working alone. Be a facilitator, not a judge. For this one, the main idea is the role of the teacher. Teachers are not only there to correct mistakes, but more to guide students. So instead of just saying what is wrong, teachers give feedback that helps students realize their mistakes, think about them, and then improve their writing by themselves. So the focus on helping students grow, not just giving scores. 9 is explain writing conventions. And the last principle is about writing rules or conventions. Different types of writing have different structures. For example, academic writing is different from personal writing. So teachers need to clearly explain how ideas should be organized and supported depending on the type of text students are writing. The next chapter is 2 writing lessons is application. Now I will move on to how these principles are applied in real classroom practice. So after understanding the theories and principles, we can actually see how they are used in teaching activities. First is blogging activity. In this activity, students use blogging as a writing text. They work in pairs, learn how blogs work, and then write their own blog posts. This helps them practice writing in a more creative and interactive way. Second is problem solution text. In this activity, students read about real problems like plastic waste. Then they discuss possible solution and finally write a problem solution essay. So in this text, reading, discussion, and writing are all connected. Next chapter is assessing writing. Finally, writing assessment in the classroom. So writing assessment is actually not simple because teachers have two roles at the same time. They are both facilitators and evaluators. So assessment should not only be about giving scores but also about helping students improve. Writing is assessed from several aspects like content, organization, grammar, vocabulary, and mechanics. But more importantly, feedback is given so students can improve in their next writing text. Also, a writing text can range from simple activities like spelling or copying up to essay writing. And the main goal of assessment is actually to support learning and improvement, not just grading the final result.